Tuesday, the 28th of October, Rosa are going to recreate the contraceptive train when feminist activists went from the south to the north of Ireland to get condoms and the contraceptive pill because they were still illegal in the south, and activists wanted to provoke a discussion and to fight against that, so they broke the law by bringing contraception into the south. We're going to do the same thing on Tuesday. We've gotten the abortion pill sent to us by Women on Web to addresses in the north. We're going to go up to Belfast to collect them and bring them back down to the south. We think Ireland's abortion ban is a totally unjust law, and we need to break it to fight for women to have the right to choose.
31 years ago, in 1983, an amendment was actually put in our constitution on foot of demands of a Catholic lobby, and that essentially equates a fetus with a grown woman. So it makes it next to impossible to give women, the health care that they need in a dangerous pregnancy situation, as we saw with Savita Halappanavar. And it also bans any legislation that could be brought in by a government. What we need here is, in Ireland, to get rid of the 8th Amendment. Only then can we sit down and legislate for what women need, which is abortion in the case of where women's health is at risk, in the case of rape. All of those things are widely supported now. Obviously, I would favour that it's a woman's choice, it's nobody else's choice, it's a decision that women should make. And we don't need panels and inquisitions to interrogate women and make the decision even more difficult. 4,000 women leave this country every year for abortions, and probably a lot more because they don't necessarily give Irish addresses. But now we also have these pills which are available, which are cheap, safe and accessible. This is approved by the World Health Organization, so it's a safe, very safe drug.
It's in my mouth. I'm on the train today because pregnancy kills, and I don't think anybody should be forced on such a dangerous journey against their wishes. It's a story that's rarely told, the dangers of pregnancy. It's usually the opposite story is told, that abortion is dangerous, but pregnancy itself is dangerous. And I know this through personal experience. I almost died as a result of pregnancy, and I have a lifelong illness, having survived that near-death experience.
The main reason I'm on the train is to highlight how women have to travel and shouldn't have to travel. So it's not just about the pill, it's about the restrictions on women accessing what should be medical care in their own cities or towns and not in other countries.
I was actually 6 months pregnant before I told my parents, shipped off to another baby home, and I came out of that after I had my little boy and married my boyfriend, which was the only option at the time, and subsequently had a miserable life with him and divorced my husband.
I'm a mother myself. I love children. I think every child should be nourished and cared for and given the best possible life that they can. And I think every woman needs to choose for herself when is the right time for her to have a child and bring it into the world. I myself went through the experience of teenage pregnancy back in 1981, and I basically was sent to a mother and baby home where my child was born and adopted.
It was just, for me, I just put it over my mind because it was just horrific to see the women in there. They were like cattle. that's what they were being treated, like breeding cattle.
We didn't go out for medical attention. Everything was in-house. My child was delivered in-house. I was induced for social reasons. In other words, that's what's on my medical sheet that I have since accessed. In other words, to get me home as quickly as possible so the cover story wouldn't be blown. Which meant it was an extremely difficult birth for an 18-year-old young woman who'd never given birth before. And I hemorrhaged and wasn't allowed out of bed for 3 days. Nobody brought my child to me during those 3 days. On the third day I was allowed up. My parents came to collect me, and I saw my son for the first time. I saw him for the first and last time until 19 years later on that day, and it was the biggest grief I've ever experienced in my life. It's one of the reasons that was such a powerful experience in that early part of my adulthood, that I will stand with any woman and respect whatever choice she makes, and that is what we as a society need to do, and we need to legislate to provide that choice.
Being in school, you get told lies, you get told you're told one thing where it's shameful and it will ruin your life, and like everyone who has an abortion is a young girl who promiscuous, and she'll have mental health problems. I was told this when I was 16 or whatever, and being young, I believed it. And then it wasn't until I had friends from Sweden and from France, and we had a discussion, and they were like, yeah, but it's normal, it's there if you need it.
If you ask most people in Ireland, are they in favour of abortion, most people would probably be a little bit uncomfortable. But if you ask most people, are they pro-choice, most people are pro-choice. So it is about the choice, but the narrative and how it's framed focuses in on the abortion itself. And if you talk to any woman who's had an abortion, it's never something that's taken lightly, and it's something that most women are uncomfortable about, but are forced into it for whatever reason. So how you frame it and how people are asked, I think, has a big impact on the answer, and I think most people in Ireland are pro-choice.
I came from the country where abortion is accessible and legal, and before I came to Ireland, I knew the situation that was in Romania when the abortion was legal, and the mortality of the woman, and what kind of things women had to go through in order to access the safe abortion. And the thing of it is that, for me, I saw how many problems it prevented. Women could actually consider, can they have a baby, can clearly think about their financial situation, where they at, could they have a baby, and then would make a decision.
Men have a say over their bodily integrity, but women don't. So if you are in a hospital situation and you happen to be pregnant or looking to access treatment around your pregnancy, be it abortion or other maternity care, you have less of a say than women who are not pregnant and men. And it's down to the definition of life and the definition of the unborn, and prioritising the unborn over the mother.
I really despise the way that some anti-choice people portray it as something that is done very lightly, where women, will just for frivolous reasons, it's not a good time. And I think this is a decision that everyone will make very carefully. I think we need to have more respect for women and for their judgment.
What is needed, in my point of view, is the proper sex education in schools. That would make a major difference.
Everybody's taken part in the train today. This is the only country in Europe, north and south, where abortion is made illegal for women. And we thank people in Belfast who we've ordered the pills with. our friends who've had them delivered to their addresses, for supporting us, for showing solidarity with us.
Talking about abortion pill, about a pill, it should be possible to get women these pills. They have been proven by the World Health Organization and by research in 30 years, because the abortion pill and medical abortion is now existing 30 years. It has been proven so safe, and that it can be used by women themselves in their homes without medical supervision. We have to be able to find a way to make sure that these women can access these pills in their country. And so that is when Women on Web was set up. When a woman contacts Women on Web, she gets a set of questions, the same questions that would be asked when you would be face-to-face with a doctor. The only issue that here is at stake is how long are women pregnant. We are dependent on the truthful information that women provides us. And there, any doctor's-patient relationship is based on trust. Medical abortion consists of two tablets, two medicines. One is called mifepristone, and mifepristone is actually also used as a morning after pill. It is blocking the hormones that are necessary to maintain the pregnancy in the womb. This medicine has no other side effects at all. There's no allergies known to it. It doesn't have any effects. Nothing happens when a woman swallows it. The second medicine, which is called misoprostol, which has been developed actually to protect the stomach against ulcering when using a painkiller. This medicine is causing the contractions of the womb, so that the pregnancy that has been ended by the first medicine can be expelled. This medicine also has a side effect sometimes that women have diarrhea or nausea, and sometimes it also causes that the temperature of the women goes up, that she has a slight fever. That is all the side effects of this medicine. If you use them when you're pregnant to end the pregnancy, it has the same risk of having a spontaneous miscarriage, which happens in about 20% of the pregnancy spontaneously. We have doctors all over the world that work with us. And these are doctors that are actually really brave, because they are really willing to help women, and they're extraordinary people.
We need to repeal the 8th Amendment that equates the life of a pregnant woman with that of a fetus. We need to repeal all of the other laws that are enabled by this constitutional amendment, including the 1995 Information Act that says something like holding this banner is a criminal offence.
It is your senseless, inhumane and sexist laws which force us to travel abroad for a medical procedure, that force us to risk 14 years in prison or the seizure of our safe abortion pills from Women on Web. You are afraid to give us a referendum to repeal the 8th because you know what the answer would be.
Just encourage anybody who watches this or who hears about this train to get involved in the campaign to repeal the 8th Amendment, because this issue has been going on for so long in Ireland. It's going to take a huge push from the majority of people to force this government or the next government to take action on this.
A counsellor told me that during her visits to several abortion clinics in the UK, she observed that Irish women were the only ones crying. Other women were confident in their decisions, that they simply did not want to continue a pregnancy at that time. It was the first time in my life I ever experienced complete objective respect and non-judgment. These are the words I remembered as I sat with tears in my eyes in the waiting room on the day of my abortion. This is the attitude that made me determined to honour myself, my life goals and my right to choose, despite the obstacles that government policy and social prejudice impose on women in countries where abortion is not legal.